Now on Coast TV News.
2 tornado warnings in one night. We look at the aftermath of the storm and local reaction.
Raining cats and dogs.
Rehoboth Beach adopts curfew.
I think it should be enforced.
Kids need to be off the streets.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Brandon Ferguson. Welcome to Coast TV News at 11. We're starting off tonight throwing it straight to First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams, who has been dialed into the radar all night, tracking the storms that hit Delmarva. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening to you, Brendan. And right now, we are continuously keeping a close eye on how things have changed. Now, we are quiet for right now, but we had a lull in the action earlier this evening and afternoon, and then things came back. There's a slight chance of another wave of thunderstorms and possible severe weather by 3 and 6 o'clock in the morning. But for right now, we are calm in Ocean City. The first wave hit us right around, let's say, 1:52. That's when we had the first initial tornado warning, and we had nearly an inch of rain in 4 locations within a 2-hour span. Now, then the second wave hit in the evening time, and that's where we started getting to 1 3/4 and 1.5 inches or close to that or above that for 3 locations and more than an inch in other locations, as you can see right here. This is where we ended up as far as the official rain count, 3/4 for us in Georgetown and in Ocean City. Because it was a slow-moving storm, widespread flooding was a problem and still a problem even tonight. Then there were the winds, 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts recorded in Ocean City, 46 in Salisbury, 44 in Cambridge, and some of the other locations where we had significant winds, 37, for example, in Laurel, 35 Georgetown, 30 in Jones Cross Road, as well as Slaughter Beach. Here's the latest as far as the storm reports are concerned. We had a funnel cloud that was reported near Galestown at about 6:55. Not only there, but also we had extensive tree damage, including downed trees at Road 493 at about 7:05. And then we had another structural report in Laurel, numerous trees and wires down across this part of the area. That was at about 7:10, tracking that storm. And then we had hail reported in several locations, but the most significant one near Millsboro, 1.8 or nearly 2 inches in diameter with that hail. And you can see widespread damage throughout the entire region as a whole. But right now, that last wave of rain has passed on through, out of the way, and we're quiet for right now. So as far as the rest of the evening is concerned, we're clear, but we are watching out for this to pop up a little later, Brandon, and that's what we'll focus on with our full forecast coming up.
Thank you, Paul. And on your screen now are shots from Milton right outside of our studio after the second tornado warning ended. Just after 7:30 tonight, very heavy rain coming down. And we're now going to take a look at Georgetown sitting water. This video on your screen from our very own Zakia Jennings just after 9 p.m. tonight. And these next 2 videos were videos taken around 2 and 3 p.m. today. This was Dagsboro on 113. You can see heavy rain coming down. And now you're going to see some shots from the ground and heavy flooding and turning lanes there, right off of Route 113 in Millsboro, with water building up on turning lanes and parking lots. Now moving to Rehoboth Beach, in a 5-2 vote this afternoon, commissioners voted to add a curfew for minors from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. The Rehoboth Beach police chief spoke on this today, saying many of his officers wanted this after, quote, unacceptable levels of juvenile delinquency, which includes recent disturbances, which includes fighting.
Waves crashing against the sand in Rehoboth Beach. People along the coast say it's a peaceful place for some rest and relaxation, but some are worried after a string of recent disturbances reportedly by unruly teenagers out late at night. Some want to see a curfew put in place. Jody Bowers says it's not a bad idea.
I think it should be enforced. I really think people come here to enjoy the place, spend money and have fun. And I just think that the younger people today take a little bit of that away from the people that are trying to enjoy, especially later in the evening.
John Mesereau lives in Rehoboth Beach part-time and says he spent a lot of his childhood and now adulthood in Rehoboth Beach. He says the freedom he was given as a teen was important to him and gave him a sense of independence that he carries with him today.
While I realize there may be some complaints, like punish the people that are the subject of the complaint if indeed they're violating any law or ordinance. But it's just lazy to me to say, yep, no one under 18 can be out there.
Mesereau says handling each situation on a case-by-case basis is the better approach and doesn't penalize kids that aren't doing anything wrong. For Coast TV News, I'm Zakia Jennings.
This brings us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know, how do curfews affect your beach experience? Let's take a look at the updated results from our 6 p.m. news hour. So far, a strong percentage, 82% saying safer environment, with 16% saying limits freedoms. And we have a comment tonight from Leslie Logsden. She says, I think it creates a safer environment, especially with so many retirees in the area. Large groups of kids in Rehoboth late at night scares people away. A curfew at 11 p.m. does not hurt business because most businesses either close or are already at that time of the night. Minors should not be out unsupervised late at night. And if you haven't voted yet on our Coast TV poll, you still can on our mobile app or on coasttv.com. Also today in Rehoboth Beach, the Board of Commissioners adopted the city's first ever 5-year strategic plan. Developed with community input, the plan outlines 3 top priorities: upgrading infrastructure, improving city operations, and expanding public access and amenities. More than 25 strategies will guide the city forward. Progress updates will be shared quarterly to ensure accountability. In Salisbury University, they're looking for their next 5-year strategic plan. 2 community listening sessions are scheduled for June 9th and 10th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at Purdue's Hall's Bennett Family Auditorium. University leaders say public feedback will help shape priorities through 2030. Admission is free and all are welcome. Visitors are asked to register for a temporary parking permit at salisbury.edu. Staying in Salisbury, parking enforcement is returning. Starting now through June 1st, the city will issue warnings, not tickets, for violations in all city-owned lots, streets, and facilities. This grace period is meant to educate drivers about rules like permit requirements and time limits. But beginning on June 2nd, full enforcement and citations will resume. Locals and businesses are being asked to update permit and vehicle info by then. For the first time, 8th grade multilingual learners from Milford Central Academy took to Milford streets today for a Latino business tour. The purpose? To provide a real-world learning opportunity that celebrates Latino culture, language, and entrepreneurship. Telemundo Delmarva and Coast TV News reporter Ana Sofia Roman shows us what it meant for those students.
Flow Factory Barbershop was one of the many businesses students visited Friday. There, students were able to learn how the business started 3 years ago and how for many, the experience is more than a haircut.
As a barber, you're more than just a dude who cuts hair. You are a therapist. You're there for the good times and the bad times. You motivate people. You're just like a counselor, a psychologist, something like that.
This initiative is in partnership between the Milford School District and the Culture Club PR.
I thought it was pretty cool how I learned different phrases and how to correctly say them.
Students were able to ask questions in Spanish about the culture, business, and more.
It just makes me happy to see them out of the classrooms talking to other people, and that shows them that being bilingual, it's just an amazing thing.
Practicing Spanish, one business at a time. In Milford, Ana Sofia Roman, Coast TV News.
The threat of more storms could put a damper on the first ever Boardwalk Rock Music Festival that kicks off tomorrow in Ocean City. Town officials say the event is rain or shine, but a thunderstorm could mean evacuating the beach. The Ocean City Police Department says organizers have come prepared. It says a full security team and personal meteorologist are on standby for the event.
They do even have their own meteorologists right there in our command center that will be running throughout the weekend. So we will have a dedicated person on hand that is monitoring that weather, since we are facing possibly a little 50-50 on storms. Now, it is a rain and shine event, but that added increase of thunder does tend to raise that elevation.
If an evacuation does happen during the festival, Ocean City Police tells us it will depend on the severity of the storm as to whether the festival could continue into the night. Staying in Ocean City, a campaign is reminding people to walk smart, bike smart, and drive smart. The state of Maryland's Department of Transportation and Ocean City officials have been working on it for years to stress the importance of being safe and following the rules of the road. State Highway has even invested in median fencing to encourage the efforts. This summer, the Walk Smart campaign posters will be put up on buses, and improvements have been made to the crosswalks.
So we did go through Coastal Highway and refresh all of the crosswalk markings so that they're more visible, brighter, motorists can see them, pedestrians can see them. Make sure you're using the crosswalks to stay out of those conflicts with motorists.
Maryland State Highway says it's also looking at putting in more median fencing and possibly improving signal timing at crosswalks in Ocean City. In Bethany Beach, town officials want to borrow money for a new water clarifier. Officials say they need almost $4 million for the project. There will be a special election for this referendum 24th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. A floating short-term rental is sparking conversation in Dewey Beach. Town leaders are looking to how to regulate houseboat rentals. Here's a look at a houseboat in one of the town's marinas. Town leaders says it's listed online for rent. The Dewey Beach town manager says water is technically DENREC's jurisdiction and it can't take rental tax from houseboat rentals. But Bill Zalper says those who will stay there will still use town facilities. Some neighbors tell us they hope town leaders will find ways to regulate those floating rentals.
There probably needs to be some type of regulation in terms of how many boats are allowed to be in the marina, I would think. And then I think other boat owners would be concerned with maybe an influx of having a lot of Airbnb.
Town leaders say they're looking into potential regulations and say they have reached out to DENREC to look at what those might be.
Taking a look at what we're expecting over the next 12 hours, we're going to see a lull in the action, but then we could see things spark back up right around the 7 o'clock hour. More on your full forecast coming up in just about 60 seconds.
Now is the perfect time to get behind the wheel of your new Subaru from Gateway Subaru. Discover our incredible lineup from the spacious Ascent and adventure-ready Crosstrek to the rugged Outback and trusted Forester, all with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive. At Gateway Subaru, we make buying your next vehicle quick, simple, and completely hassle-free. Gateway Subaru has more in-stock Subaru inventory than other dealers have combined. But hurry in now, they're moving fast. Gateway Subaru, just minutes from the beaches in the heart of Delmarva. Higher standards.
We believe that a great community health system reflects the community it serves. And like Sussex County itself, we've been on an exciting journey of growth and transformation, evolving from a trusted community hospital to the region's premier healthcare provider and Sussex County's most comprehensive health system. We're proud to be on this journey together, miles ahead, but by your side the entire way, because Sussex County is our specialty.
Well, we had 3 tornado warnings earlier this afternoon and evening. Fortunately, thus far, we have no reports of any injuries and minimal damage. We have some reports to pass along to you, but that's where we stand right now, which is a good thing. Well, we were quite fortunate. Unfortunately, there's some folks that are in the St. Louis area from the same storm. 4 people were killed near the St. Louis area from the same system. So, more storms possible at 3 and 6 o'clock, according to our latest run from our high-resolution rapid refresh model. Some severe downpours possible. Warm, muggy start to the weekend, staying in the 80s for Saturday. Very summer-like day, but then Sunday, much drier air will step into play, and it'll cool things off and stabilize the atmosphere. Comfortable for us on Sunday with some sunshine. So here's what set the stage for these storms to act a fool, as I like to say, throughout the evening time. We had 81 in Georgetown, 88 in Salisbury, 88 in Easton, 86 in Cambridge. Now, 81 degrees in Georgetown was only about 8 degrees away from tying the record high. So we had very warm air that was in place. Now, this is the last remnants of it. You can see how it pushed across very quickly for the evening run. Now, in the afternoon, it was even more potent, but we had that wave that pushed through that encompassed the entire state as they began to push on through. Now, we did receive a report of a funnel cloud. Now, a funnel cloud is when we have the spinning that's happening aloft, but it doesn't quite touch the ground. It's not technically a tornado until it touches the ground. That makes it to a tornado, okay? But a funnel cloud, a lot of that spinning happening in the upper atmosphere, was reported at 6:55 Galestown. We also had extensive tree damage, particularly near Road 493 at about 7:05 from thunderstorms. And by the way, those thunderstorm winds were howling at 80 miles per hour. Same holds true for us in Laurel. We had numerous trees down and wires down with some power outages. And hail. We had nearly 2-inch diameter hail reported in Millsboro, but we also had 2-inch diameter hail that was reported with those very gusty winds that pushed through as well. Now here's a wider view of where we stand right now. It's all quiet, but we could see things act up again. Here's a look at that second wave of rain. We had nearly 1 3/4 in Dagsboro, over 1.5 inches in Prime Hook, just shy of 1.5 inches Laurel, 1.34 for Lewis, just shy of 1 1/4 for us in Jones Crossroads, and Stockley and Rehoboth Beach had just over 1 inch of rain there. The winds accelerated, and we had a recording of 44-mile-per-hour wind gust in Cambridge. 44 is actually in Ocean City. We had more areas where it was at least more pronounced. Now, we're still in the marginal category for additional storms for Saturday. So looking at Saturday morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, we're looking at storms firing up near Berlin and Salisbury with this latest run. And then we have additional scattered showers likely to push through. The Preakness, by the way, still, it's on. We're looking at in the afternoon. That's not going to be a problem for us in the Preakness. We'll have partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies, temperatures near the 90-degree mark. So Saturday at 5 o'clock in the morning, 70s. That's why if we get anything that touches off in the morning time, it has enough energy to just jump off and kick off. Temperatures in the 80s, actually, in the afternoon. Sunday, we start off in the 60s, not quite as warm, but we'll still end up in the mid to upper 70s as a result of that. And the winds will really pick up for Sunday at 40 to 38 to 40 mile per hour winds out of the northwest, accompanying a cold front that's going to push through. Monday and Tuesday, much drier air will wring all of that moisture out of the atmosphere over our neck of the woods and begin to diminish our chances of rain until we get to Wednesday going into Thursday. Finally, here is a look at your extended forecast. That next wave of rain for Wednesday and Thursday will come with much lower temps, by the way.
Thank you for that, Paul. And most, if not all, of our viewers felt the effects of those storms. And CoastTV caught up with one local fisherman just 5 minutes after the first tornado warning ended this afternoon.
I just returned here to Millsboro to do a little fishing about 15 minutes ago. No tornado, in the area. Rain like heck, but no tornado, so it looks pretty good right now. It's cleared up. Hoping to get a couple of bites here.
Looking ahead, Delaware state parks are rolling out a reservation system for surf fishing drive-on beach access starting Saturday, May 24th. Reservations will be required on weekends and holidays from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. through Labor Day and will open weekly on a first-come, first-served basis. Coming up, President Trump back in Washington, what the president looked to achieve during his 4-day trip and what controversy came from it.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
President Trump is making his way back to Washington after 4 days of deals and dinners, announcing a major AI supercenter deal that he says will mean jobs for Americans. The president broadening relations with the nations of the region, but the trip also brings controversy. And some misses as his hopes to bring an end to 2 major world conflicts hit some bumps. NBC's Melanie Zanoni has details from Washington.
President Trump is returning home from the Middle East, capping off 4 days of business dealings and diplomacy.
It's been a tremendous time, and now it's time to go back home.
The president touting an agreement with the United Arab Emirates to build a massive data center in that country. American companies will operate the center and offer American-managed cloud services. Mr. Trump also saying the U.S. offered Iran a formal proposal for a nuclear deal.
They know they have to move quickly. Something bad's going to happen.
The trip, though, not without controversy. Republicans and Democrats alike are concerned the president's plan to accept Qatar's gift of a $400 million luxury jet as the next Air Force One. And while the president says deals made will benefit the country, they could also benefit the Trump Organization, which has big real estate deals in the region. And Trump's new cryptocurrency company is now backed by companies based in the Middle East. The president shrugging off concerns.
I really don't know anything about it, but I'm a big crypto fan.
With his role as a deal maker solidified, the role of peacemaker more elusive. His promise of ending two conflicts not panning out. In Turkey, talks to end the war between Ukraine and Russia stalled. Though Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with contingencies from both countries, neither leader is at the table. Though Ukrainian President Zelensky was in country, Russian leader Putin was not.
We're going to get it. We're going to get it done. We got to get it done.
And Israel ramping up airstrikes on Gaza, killing hundreds in the past few days. President Trump sounding sympathetic to Palestinians.
A lot of people are starving on Gaza, so we have to look at both sides.
And back home, President Trump facing a big battle over his big, beautiful budget bill. Conservative hardliners joining all House Democrats in blocking the package in committee, with hardliners seeking steeper cuts to Medicaid and clean energy tax breaks. But lawmakers vowing to work through the weekend and will be back at it next week. Melanie Znona, NBC News, Washington.
Coming up, helping horseshoe crabs, how to properly assist these friendly animals.
Here's a look at your golf forecast. Listen, it's going to be on a muggy side. Now, at 7 o'clock in the morning, you may run into some rain, but after that, it's going to be muggy and very warm with a high of 88 degrees.
Saturday, tomorrow, is the 150th running of the Preakness Stakes, excuse me. A number of people from our side of the Chesapeake Bay will make that trip to Baltimore and take part in all of the festivities. It will be the last Preakness at the Pimlico track as we know it right now. It is scheduled to be at a different location in Maryland next year as they rebuild this historic yet aging facility. CoastTV coverage starts tomorrow for the Preakness at 4 p.m. And it might be hard to believe, but football fans, get ready. The return of Sunday Night Football is just months away. CoastTV is your exclusive home to watch it all. Here's the first couple matchups that you won't want to miss. The season kicks off with a big showdown as the Dallas Cowboys head to the Philadelphia Eagles to take on the reigning Super Bowl champs. Then on Sunday night, it's a matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. In Week 2, the Atlanta Falcons take on the Minnesota Vikings. Then Week 3, it's the Kansas City Chiefs visiting the New York Giants. Again, all these games are right here on CoastTV. And right now on CoastTV.com, we have the entire Sunday Night Football schedule that will air exclusively on CoastTV all the way to the Super Bowl. If you take a walk on the beach, especially the Bay beaches, you're likely walking alongside prehistoric creatures and don't even know it. Horseshoe crabs, kind of an unofficial symbol of southern Delaware, migrate to our coast to spawn in the spring. Beachgoers say it's strangely beautiful, but they need our help.
Horseshoe crabs on Broadkill Beach, and this is a pretty light day. Take a look at footage from past spawnings showing a lot more horseshoe crabs on the Delaware Bay.
They're just kind of part of the beach.
And a part of the beach that is critical for migratory shorebirds who eat their eggs, but these crawly crabs are even good for our health.
They've used the blood for research and for drugs research and stuff.
They are cool animals, aren't they?
They are. They're very cool.
The horseshoe crab shape is unique and sets them up for a life or death situation.
And then they get washed up, and the ones laying upside down, the seagulls have gotten.
That's why it's important to flip horseshoe crabs with care.
If you encounter a horseshoe crab that's flipped up, this is how you pick them up. Very important here. Grab them by the sides. Never, ever, ever grab that tail. That could damage it, and that's important for their mobility. Don't worry if they're active like this. They're a live animal. They don't want to hurt you, just like you don't want to hurt them. Grab them by their sides very gently. Bring them down to the shoreline and let them go.
Even if you're not close to the water, a quick flip sets them up better for survival.
They're like so sweet and gentle. They're just there. They're just hanging out, and we're just kind of like in their world.
A living fossil crawling towards a better life, thanks to beachgoers like you.
The best places to see horseshoe crabs in Sussex County are Slaughter Beach to Lewis. Denrex says the bay's calm waters protect the crabs from waves, and the sloping sand is good for the crabs to lay their eggs. You can see most of the crabs in May and June at high tide. Don't go anywhere. Coast TV News at 11 continues after the break. The Milton Farmers Market kicked off their season today from 3:30 through 6. They will be open every Friday through September 26th, located at Grace Church in Milton. And there actually is an article right on CoastTV.com of farmers markets across Delmarva opening or already open for the 2025 season. If you're in need of a furry friend, now is the time to adopt. Well, right now, the Brandywine Valley SPCA is holding a special from now till Sunday, May 18th. Any adult dog 30 pounds and up at a $25 adoption fee. This will take place at any Brandywine Valley SPCA campus. The town of Ocean City is now accepting nominations for the 2025 Beauty Spot Awards. Categories include residential condominium, retail, hotel, motel, commercial, restaurant, and the boardwalk. To nominate, submit the property name, address, and owner's contact number by June 21st. Today's Friday, and each Friday you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV. You can sign up now for our Feel Good Friday newsletter at coasttv.com/signup.
Here's where we are right now in Ocean City. Things are calm and quiet for right now. 66 degrees currently, and we're going to stay in the upper 60s throughout the rest of the evening hours. The latest look at live radar, we are clear from that last wave of rain that's pushed through. We're no longer under any kind of severe thunderstorm watch or any kind of severe thunderstorm warning of any sort. So that's been allowed to expire, but we could see some more action by 7 o'clock in the morning. Susan Ferrero of Ocean Pines, you're our umbrella winner. Keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line. Sponsored by the law offices of Bruckstedt, Mandalis, and Federico. And finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. We're going to be really muggy for Saturday, high of 87 degrees. We could see some thunderstorms fire back up at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you for covering these storms all day. And thanks to our entire team for keeping up with this severe weather. And thank you for joining us for Coast TV News at 11. For more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show, starring Jimmy Fallon, is up next. We'll see you tomorrow night for Coast TV News at 11. Have a great night.